I got the feed box noise. It says the great grandfather was equipoise.
I chose Paul Revere. Now this is no bum steer. It's from a handicapper that's real sincere.
I'm taking Valentine.
Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Sunday, July 13th races. We do have 8 of them scheduled. We got a wiener dogs in between, a few of them. We got a lot happening. Always fun to have the wiener dogs in between races, but 2 pretty interesting 6.5 furlong.
3.
There's 3 of them. Oh yeah, we got the fillies and mares. Yeah, there's a split of the boys. So 3 nice big pots for some $8,000 starter allowance races.
Really interesting the way they did this. We used to have the endurance races here, and this year they tried a little different with their sprint races, but you had to run for $8,000. The pot's good. And you make for some really interesting.
It's a
races.
Series at the end. There's a pretty good prize, and there's quite a bit of money. I think there's 3 or 4 different legs to the series, and the winner we'll get you more details as we go along. But this is leg number 1 for the fillies and mares, and as well as leg number 1 for the boys. And there's so many of the boys they had to split it. So we do have 8 races today. Let's get right into the action. First race is for $4,000 non-winners at 3. There will be sprinting again, 6.5 furlongs. I got a field of 7. Headed by, for me, number 4, Fast Stop. Getting in the right races, and he looks like a logical repeat winner. He just won a non-2 for fun. Looks like the horse to beat. Amadeo riding for the Hot Anita Bolton barn, and tough to go against those connections. I got to go to him to win it. Put the 5 Run Stormy Run in for second. Shook off a little rust with that run last time, and it was a kind of a wet, fast track. I think you'll appreciate getting back on a fast track. And I think this race came up a little bit easier for him. I think he'll be better this afternoon. And I put the 7 horse, Lord Harlow, who is better going long, but he can't get a long race to go. So he's going to sprint again. And he has, like I said, better going long, but he's run some decent sprints. He's better than the rest, I think. I went 4, 5, and 7. I like Fast Stop for Anita Bolton.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I looked at this race. I got Fast Stop, and after that I was kind of scrambling to find who else I like, but Fast Stop definitely looks like the horse to beat in here. I did put Lord Harlow in the second spot. He does want to go long, but his numbers and everything just kind of stand out for me in here. He ran a good race, even though it was long, for 4,000 behind Texas Buccaneer. Jumped up to 8. That was too tough for him. Now he comes back into a 4-3, which I think suits him pretty well. And the third spot I put Chapel Boy of the Harold Barrowby barn. He consistently hits the board in this 4-3 race. A second and third in his last 2 outs, so that's good enough for me. Maybe he'll get up for a piece of it. I got 4, 7, and 1 in the first. On to the second, 3-year-olds and up, maiden 5,000, going a mile on the 16th. I've landed on the 4 horse, the Dave Forster trained Promise Glory. 3 thirds in a row. Ran a big race, second behind a dropping Bluegrass Man last time. He was clearly second best in the race. So I got him on top. I have Boots Gray in the second spot. Boots Gray has a bit more speed, though. What worries me in this race for Promise Glory is there might not be enough pace for him to run it, because he comes from quite a ways out of it. So those for me are the 2 horses that are going to be tough in here, the 4 and the 6. I'm hoping that Promise Glory will get a bit of a pace. If he gets a pace to run at, I think he's your winner. Boots Gray, though, could control the tempo under Richard Hamill, and that's going to tell you a lot of how this race shakes up. In the third spot, I looked around a bit. I couldn't find much. I went with Scrollwork out of the Frank Barrowby barn, a horse who has a couple thirds this year at this level. So I looked around and couldn't find a whole lot. I ended up in him in the third spot, Scrollwork. I got 4, 6, 1.
Yeah, I agree with your top 2. I went to Boots Gray to win it, though, just because this horse got into quite a bit of trouble last time. Was out part of the pace, shuffled back, got checked again at the half mile. This horse had a lot going on in that last race, and he still ended up, not losing by much to Promise Glory for second. So I think the tables could be turned, and so I'll take Boots Gray to win it. Promise Glory, obviously, second, and I put the 3 horse Neurotic Dancer for Teddy and Kathy Hurt. I think those are that would be your third best. I think this horse has had some tough trips, been wide out, and some dreadful draws and kind of unlucky trips. Maybe the stretch out in distance and an inside draw might help him. This one hit the board, but I went 6, 4, and 3 in the second. On to the third race. Some maiden 25 grand older horses, or 3 and ups, going a mile on the 16th. Good little race here. I ended up on the 5 horse Windhammer for Craig McPherson. Narrow loser to It's Finally Friday. This horse is owned by the Gordsons, who of course own Coffee Grinder as well, and this one's also by Grindstone, as is Coffee Grinder. And out of the mare Lasting Light, who did win the Fantasy going a mile 16th as a 2-year-old filly, so she's by Skywalker. There is a lot of distance in this pedigree, and I just see the mile 16th helping this horse out a lot. Not that this horse probably could win going 6.5, but a mile 16th should ensure victory. So I'm going to try Windhammer. Over the one, Spirit River, who was another one that could go long. This horse was pretty game and losing last time, but did disappoint as a heavy favorite, 3-5 or something. It was a big choice last time, and really a no excuses loss, but did have to battle the whole way. And I put the 7-horse Uncle Clarence, also out of the Craig McPherson barn. Another one bred to run long. A lot of the horses out of the mare, Halo's Glory, have done quite well at a distance of ground. So lightly raced, good first up run. Last time was battling against Maiden. That Maiden 2 bits came up pretty tough with Hillside's Select coming up for the pennies from Seattle. Goliath came back to win a maiden allowance. And Red Riverman, who I picked on Saturday. I mean, this horse just didn't get beat by much for third, so I'm going to follow that horse back. I think he's got a lot of upside. He might be the best value of all 3 of them. But I went 5, 1, and 7. I like Windhammer.
I agree with your top 2 selections 100%. Those are the 2 tough ones in the race. They're both going to be a short price. As you mentioned, I think Windhammer may have the edge when they go long. He was also fairly wide last time and just got beat in neck by Spirit River, who had a better trip. So with that, I'll go with Windhammer on top, Spirit River in the 2nd spot. And the 3rd spot, I went to the 4 Wonder World out of the Carl Lawson barn. Just he didn't show much his first start, then took a big leap forward and was in the same race as the top 2 last time. It only got beat a length and a quarter, but just the way that he progressed from his first start to his 2nd start, if he can progress again into his 3rd start of his career, I think that he can maybe make some noise in here under Ryan Pacheco, who's putting together a nice little meet for himself. I went 5, 1, and 4 in the 3rd. On to the 4th, 3-year-olds and up, claiming 25,000. This is a good race. Another one where you can make an argument for quite a few in here. I would have rather picked 4 than 3 horses. I ended up on Franzer's Finest of the Phil Hall barn. Good second last out to the Gov. Amadeo Perez sticks with him. I'm sure he had some other options in here, but he does stick with Franzer's Finest. He's not necessarily at his best even going short, but he puts together, once he gets going in the right direction, he tends to put together good races in a row. And so I got him on top. I put Stratify, probably one of the horses going to be your favorites in here, in the 2nd spot. Probably needed, he's only run once this year. That was in that same race as Franzer's Finest, in that he only got beat a length and a half, but he should progress into his 2nd start of the year. And in the 3rd spot, I went to a newcomer to Hastings Park, Gut Shot Straight, a horse who was running competitively for the $25,000, $16,000 level at Golden Gate, which can be very salty. And he comes up here for Dave Milburn, who's having a good meet himself, gets Alex Bisono. Tough kind of older horse who's won 11 races, so I'll take Gut Shot Straight in the 3rd spot. I got 5, 4, and 6.
Yeah, I've gone to the 3 Casino Boss.
That's the one I left out that you can obviously make a case for.
I think this is the speed.
I just didn't like the way he was going.
I just think he's the speed of the race. I loved his race first time out, losing by a nose to Commander, and it might have knocked him out a little bit. And he came back 3 weeks later after that tough race to Commander. He wasn't as good, and he had a sloppy track to go over. And it wasn't totally the track, but I just think he might have been exhausted with the race against Commander. Last time he was rated in behind horses. Golden Triumph was too fast, so he cleared him, and he was stuffed inside. And he wasn't beaten all that far for second. He was beaten like 3 lengths for second and ended up last or beat 1. Yeah. So this is a lot easier race than facing Golden Triumph, Senior Rojo, and those kind of horses. So I gotta think Richard's gonna put him on the lead, and this horse is gonna be tough on the head end. I like Casino Boss over Stratify. Still hasn't hit his best stride yet this year. I thought it was an okay performance, but I don't know if he's a real sloppy track horse. Yeah. I think he'll go better on a fast strip, and I agree with your Gunshot Straight. In for 3rd. Of course, it's competing on the tough Northern California circuit. Those are salty little races. If he can handle the regular dirt, which he has, he won at Fairplex there for 20 grand back in September of last year. So definitely the dirt isn't a problem for him. So look for him to maybe be alive as well. I went 3, 4, 6. I really like Casino Boss. I think he's going to run well. On to the 5th race. Got some. This is the first starter race. This is the Filly and Mare edition.
Yep.
got a field of 11 gals that are signed on, and obviously you have to love the one-horse Fair Command.
Yeah.
Back-to-back wins for 8 and 12-5, just been destroying her competition. I don't see a lot of speed in here at all. She's going to get the lead. It's her race to win or lose. Been waiting for this series because the series came out about a month ago where it was going to actually be official, and so they've kind of protected her and worked her into this race, and she's been working well. So Fair Command for me. There's just no one to go with her either. You look up and down, who's going to challenge her? She's going to get a 23 opening quarter. Yeah. I mean, I can see that happening. Like Fair Command's got to be dangerous. But the 5, Clarice B, and the 8, Sacred Delight in behind. I think those are your next 2 horses. I think the rest are a stretch. They're all distance horses or might not be good enough. But Fair Command for me by a mile. I went 1, 5, and 8.
I agree, Mike. Fair Command looks like the horse to beat in here. If the only thing that can beat her is if somebody goes with her and pushes her, and then I have the same second horse as you, Clarice B, who would be closing and perhaps could collar her late in the lane if she gets pushed, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, where?
Who's going to do it? Maybe Random Highs will try and push her. The Bug Girl.
Yeah.
Tough to say, but Fair Command is definitely the horse to beat in here. Clarice B in the second spot. The third spot, I went to Steve Henson's Jazz Unlimited. Good, only got beat a half length by Clarice B last time, and she can lay close enough that she could still be a factor in this race. So I got her in the third spot. I got 1, 5, and 4, but I couldn't agree more with Mike. Number 1, Fair Command, at a short price. Now for the boys race, the 6th race. This is the boys race did split, as Mike mentioned in our opening. So we have 8 going to the post in the first leg of it, which runs as the 6th race. Unfortunately, I feel like the 2 toughest horses in this series ended up in the same leg.
Yeah.
That's Kai's Command and honestly Ossifer, should say. Tough to really separate these horses. They've both been winning quite easily, both been winning in very good times. I gave the edge to Kai's Command. That 16 and 3 2 stars back was very impressive. Then that 16 open, winning by 5, just in hand. He looks to me like maybe he has the edge over this horse. But like I say, it's a shame they ended up in the same leg because I feel that these are the 2 best horses. Honestly, Officer, what can you say about him? Been an absolute professional since being claimed and coming here to Hastings Park. 3 wins in a row. Even last time running a distance, which I picked him 3rd because I wasn't sure if he could get the distance, but he just got on the lead, set reasonable fractions, and kept it going. Now he goes back to his home court at a sprint. He'll be a handful in here. Looked around for a 3rd horse. I went with Bubba Fizz. He got beat by Kai's Command 2 back, then came and led the whole way without Kai's Command in the race for 12-5, and that's why I threw in as my 3rd spot. But 1 and 8 look like standouts to me. 1, 8, and 4 for me.
Yeah, it looks like back-to-back Command horses. The daughter of second in command, Fair Command, in the 5th race, and the son of Kai, second in command, Kai's Command, looks like the horse to beat in here, as you mentioned. Open length win over Bubba Fizz and Stolen Otis for 8 Gs. Did step up to 16 and showed some versatility with Rico Walcott aboard too. Didn't break well and still settled in behind the speed and just blew the doors off in a good time. The track was not overly fast that day. But he's going to need his best. I mean, honestly, Ossifer is going well. I know he did route last time. He got things all his own way on the head end. He got a 49.5 or 48 and 4, and just lasted over Ruffy, Joe, and Canby. But he's a horse that
wasn't exactly his home
winning.
Court, yeah.
No, he's winning races and he's winning comfortably, and he's and you never want to stray from a horse that's on a roll. His confidence with horses is huge, and this horse is beaming with confidence right now. And if he can work out a trip from the outside post, that's the only key. He's going to need to work out a trip, and hopefully he doesn't get the 5 wide trip, and then he's going to be in trouble. But he's the one that can beat the 1 horse Kai's Command. So I went 1, 8. I put the 3 horse Marine Fog for Teddy Hurd in for 3rd. Had a nice win for 8 Gs at Northlands. He was claimed at Turf Paradise for not much money, but he has some speed and he could be in position. He's got a little bit of back class to him. This horse has won at Delmar before. I mean, this horse has some ability, so there is some class there. Wouldn't want to leave him off the ticket. But 1 and 8 for me. I agree with your assessment that both the tough horses in the series ended up in the same leg. And I went 1, 8, and 3. Into the easier half of the split of the starter allowance series. Got a field of 8 here. I ended up on the 5 Come Away Home for the pennies. They're fortunate to get away from the 2 tough ones in the other leg, and looks like they've drawn quite a bit of speed in here. And I just see Come Away Home getting a favorable trip. You got the 3 horse, What a Sense of Humor, likes to show speed. The 6, Step Up. The 7, Lookout Dubai, and Royal Vic. Actually, the outside 3 horses all want to be up on the lead. Come Away Home should get a good trip. He's been on rolling nicely down at Emerald, and we'll see. He's run well here in the past. I know Robbie Anderson had him. Maybe actually just a 1 start. Robbie had him for Larry Ross.
Yeah.
And the horse is running for more money than this, and still run a good second. So this horse is all right. He's handled the track before, so I wouldn't stray from him. Put the 4, Hockley. He's a classy dude in for second. Amadeo ends up on the Come Away Home, and Hockley gets Hamill. And I put the 1 horse, This Bruise for You, for third. Taking advantage of the easy half of the split, I'm going to put him in for third. But it's 5 and 4 for me. I really like the 5, 5, 4, 1.
I agree with you 100%. Mike, Come Away Home looks like the horse. Let's bring him back-to-back wins together for 10,000. It's a horse who's won 8 times in his life. That towers over this field. The only other horse to get close to that is both of our second horses, Hockley, who's won 7. So those look like the two, in this leg, those are the two that look like it's going to be one or the other, I think. In the third spot, I went with Gypsy Magic, a horse who won for 8, came back and only got beat a little under 3 lengths by Bear Rock and Roll and Mark. So that was a tougher race. A horse like Bear Rock and Roll would be very salty in this dash. So I got 5, 4, and 2, but I agree with Mike on the top 2, 5 and 4. On to the 8th then, Nightcap. Maiden, Fillies and Mares for 12.5, going 6.5. Field of 8 go postward. I've landed on the 2 here, Queen Militant. Good run last time for Maiden 20. Finished a couple lengths behind I Dig That, who was dropping out of the Maiden Special Weight category after being very competitive at Maiden Special Weight. Dropped into Maiden 25, made no mistake, and this filly tried to stay right with her, just couldn't, and ended up getting beat a couple lengths. In the second spot, I went with DS Siobhan. Another one dropping out of that 12.5 race, same race as Queen Militant. 4, Tracy McCarthy. Amadeo Perez sticks with her. That's always a good sign. And the third spot, I went with the 4, Gone with the Gray, out of the Mike Anderson barn. Mike Anderson having a very good year. Richard Hamill sticks with this guy. Ran 4th last time. It was his first start. Actually, I had him picked somewhere in the mix. I can't remember exactly where last time. But it was his first start. Got beat 4 3/4, but interesting to see Mike doesn't drop him down to like a claim in 5 or something, which he would have free reign to do. So he keeps him up here. Second start of his life, I see her taking a step forward. So I got her in the 3rd spot. I got 2, 3, 4 in the Nightcap.
Yeah, I agree with your top 2. I went to DS Soban in for to win spot, it, dropping from 25, as is the 2 Queen Militant. I think those are your 2 horses. Diaz Soban did the chasing, had to chase a fast pace where Queen Militant was sitting back watching the duel, and that's why there was a length and a half difference between the 2 at the end of the wire, or at the end of the race. And but I think with less pace in the race, I think Diaz Soban gets the trip, and Queen Militant will have to settle for second. And I put the 6, Miss Rose Parade, in for third. This one also dropping in class. Good first up run at this level, which earned her a start for Maiden 25. Missed the break, and lots went wrong in that race, so they get her back down for the 12.5, and I think she'd be more of a factor. I just stayed away from everyone out of the interactive mining race. I think anyone coming out of the 25,000 races are the live ones in this race. The interactive mining, Quiet Finality, Country Pearl race I thought was quite, below average for this level, and it's just come up tougher, and that's why I'm going to go to those 3. I went 3, 2, and 6 in the Sunday finale. Well, that'll do it for our analysis of the Sunday program. Next up on screen will be a quick recap of our selections. Back in race number 1, I went to the 4 horse Fast Stop. I went 4, 5, and 7. Race number 2, I went to the 6 Boots Gray over the 4 Promised Glory, and the 3 Neurotic Dancer. Third race went to the 5 Windhammer over the 1 and 7. Fourth race, I really like the 3 Casino Boss. I might be making a mistake, but I like Casino Boss in this one. I went 3, 4, and 6. Fifth race, I like the 1 Fair Command, probably the best bet of the day. Probably your key on any wagers you make, your multiple leg wagers or tries. I think Fair Command is the bet of the weekend. I went 1, 5, and 8. Sixth race, went to the 1 Kai's Command over the 8 Honestly Ossifer, and the 3 Marine Fog for third. But it looks like 1 and 8 or 8 and 1 in the 6th race. It's a good battle between those 2. Whoever gets lucky with the trip will win it. In the 7th race, went to the 5 Come Away Home over the 4 Hockley, and the 1 This Bruise for You. And the 8th and final, it's 3, 2, 6. I like the 3 DS Soban.
Up next, there we go. There's my picks in the first race. I agree with Mike on number 4 Fast Stop over the 7 and the 1. In the second, I went to the 4 Promised Glory over the 6 and the 1. In the third, I'm on number 5 Windhammer over the 1 and the 4. In the fourth, I went to the 5 Franzer's Finest over the 4 and the 6. In the 5th, I agree with Mike. Best bet here, number 1, Fair Command over the 5 and the 4. In the 6th, I'm again with Mike on number 1, Kai's Command over number 8, Honestly Officer, and the 4 horse in the 3rd spot. In the 7th, I agree with Mike on number 5, Come Away Home over the 4 and the 2. And the nightcap, the 8th, I went with the 2, Queen Militant over the 3 and the 4.
Well, that'll do it for our Sunday, July 13th edition of Handicapper's Corner. Don't forget, if you can't make it out to Hastings to watch the Wiener Dogs, we will have lots going on here at the Derby Bar and Grill, so please do check it out if you're in the South Surrey area. Always a comfortable environment. Got lots of simulcast wagering, as well as the big TV will have Hastings Racecourse with their 8-race program on television. So please do come on out to the Derby if you can. On behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on the Derby Bar and Grill.
I'm picking Valentine, 'cause on the morning line, the guy's got...